Warm welcome again to the second session of the spiritual retreat. I now kindly request revered Swami Vimokshanandaji Maharaj, Adhyaksha for Ramakrishna Mat Elagiri, Tamil Nadu, to share his thoughts on the topic Focus on the Formless and the Form. Revered Swami Vimokshanandaji Maharaj.
अखण्डमण्डलाकारं व्याप्तं येन चराचरं तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. हरिः ओम्. ॐ नमो भगवते रामकृष्णाय. Dear monastic brothers and also our devotees, after a gap of a few months, once again I am in Basavangudi Ashram. I feel very blessed to be at this ashram and meet many of you once more. Today is a very important, holiest day, I should say, considering the visit of Holy Mother on 24th March to this ashram in 1911. So, Holy Mother had come here, and this ashram has been or has become very popular in the minds of the devotees due to the presence of the Holy Mother's rock. I hope whoever comes here visit that place. Even now you can see the vibrations, Holy Mother's vibrations you can receive when you go there. I generally go in the early morning and much less crowd will be there, and go around 12 times. Such a wonderful experience we get. And our mind gets absorbed in Holy Mother. We had a beautiful introduction by Swami Nityanandaji Maharaj, who explained to us what is meditation, dhyana, and what it is not. That also he explained. Today, they asked me to speak on focus on the formless and the form. It's very interesting that the Supreme God is being thought of in our religion in many, many ways. Actually, we do not like to think of the Supreme God in one format. We don't want to put that Supreme Parabrahman or the Supreme Divine Principle in one format. As Sri Ramakrishna jokingly says, I don't want to be that person who is only playing the phone. I want to be that person who plays Raga Raginis, he says. Different types of forms, different types of names of the Supreme Principle is very interesting. It gives you no boring at all. It gives you that wonderful enthusiasm to think of God in multiple forms, in multiple names. While we are learning from our great religious teachers that the Supreme Principle is, though formless, it takes many number of forms. Point is, how do you focus your mind on the formless? Most of us, we are comfortable with focusing our mind during meditation on the form of the Supreme Principle, which you call it in Vedanta, Parabrahman. This Parabrahman can be focused on any of his form and name. But they say, a few people are there who would like to think of that Parabrahman without any name, without any form. Though we all know intrinsically, born as a Hindu, you will know, you get a DNA from your parents. One of the thought DNA that is transferred to you is this, that God is one, God is not many. And you also get this DNA that God is one though, but God can take many forms, many names. So we know intrinsically, being a Hindu, that the Supreme God cannot be with any form or name. For the purpose of being a Supreme, that principle has to be formless only. Though that is taken for granted, but we love to go in meditation and focus our mind on God with form. This is what among the general Hindu population we all have. If you ask, I do not know, if I can ask a question to you, how many of you do sadhana by focusing your mind on the formless? Just raise your hand. In these 500 people, not even one. Of course, one is there. Thank you. Thank you very much. So one person is there out of 500 who thinks the Supreme God as formless and he does sadhana. So you can understand how difficult for the mind to grasp something which has got no form, which has got no name. So we are all very habituated to think of God in form. I heard about one devotee. That devotee was telling, Swamiji, I follow a particular way of sadhana where I do not give importance to the name and form of Supreme Brahman. Then he said, I don't even allow my children to bring any calendar with God's forms. He doesn't allow in his house. No form should be there. Don't ever think God with any form. That's what he says. That is his way of looking at it. I remember that Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, when Yam comes to Master, how wonderful conversations happens. And suddenly, out of the blue, Master asks Yam, do you believe in God with form or without form? A simple question. If I would be there, I would have told him straight away, I believe God with form. There is no more inquiry or thinking that takes place in my mind. But Yam was a different person. Yam, what did he say? That was a startling, a jolting thought given by Sri Ramakrishna to him. So Yam, when he wrote down this incident, he writes a few comments there. What he says is that how can God, when he is formless, at the same time can be with form? Are they not contradictory ideas? Can they coexist? He writes in the Gospel itself. This is what I was thinking. Because that was you was startled at the question by Sri Ramakrishna. What do you believe? In form or without form? That question he could not even accept it prima facie because that question has got two contradictory ideas coming into clash in one sentence. He says, he wonders, how can God be formless as well as with form? It seems it cannot be. Then it takes some time. That means he gives some pause to think, and he answers Sri Ramakrishna, I believe in God without form. Formless God I believe in. Okay? So what did Sri Ramakrishna respond? It's a beautiful passage. In the very first chapter itself you get. Sri Ramakrishna says, Good, good. You follow the formless God. That's good. But never think people who follow God with form, they are doing something wrong. Immediately he corrects him. This correction you don't get from people who are not as great as Paramahamsa. Only Paramahamsa has got this authority to correct your notions and bring you to the right path. So long what he was thinking, God with form, that type of worship is absolutely wrong. That is what his impression, his idea. Because God cannot be with form. A supreme principle must be formless. But here Sri Ramakrishna says, no, God is without formless, okay, without form, and he is with form also. And then he gives a pause now and looks at Yam very intently. Imagine the scene. I am asking you to imagine the scene, though it is not there in the gospel. Yam is standing there. He has not even seated. And Ramakrishna looks at him intensely, and then he tells him, and something more. And that put him absolutely speechless. First, he has already accepted as God without form. Okay. And he told him, corrected him, God with form also is okay. And he says something more. What could be that more? Yam could not reach at that point what to think of that. Though after coming to with Sri Ramakrishna, and Yam had wonderful experience of God in his life. Some of his own disciple, Yam's disciple, who wrote down about Yam's life later in a Bengali book. It's a very beautiful book, and it is a volume, several volumes it has come, Yam's teachings. And there he says, Yam has confirmed to this disciple that he had experience of God without form. And how many types of experiences he had, that he says. You see, even in without form, it is not simple one particular one item. So with form and without form, and this is a big principle of discussion in the philosophy. If you go to take up Indian Hindu philosophy and you discuss how the one supreme Brahman, which is called Brahman by the Vedanta, how that supreme Brahman, Parabrahman, has become Ishvara. Nobody knows how it has come. This avatara itself, you see, we all sing Shuddha Brahma Parat Pararam. How beautiful song we sing. But have you ever thought about the Rama comes only in the 6th line? First 5 lines, no place for Rama. Though you may add every line ending Ram, 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 you can say, but Rama has got no place there. Because he is an avatara, much less stature than the Ishvara. So, Shuddha Brahma Parat Pararam is the first sentence. Then only is the second line he comes, Kalatmaka Parameshwara Ram. When that Shuddha Brahman, Parat Param, which is beyond everything, that means something more, which is Ramakrishna says. So you just put a circle over that words. Something more. Parat Para. Already you have said Para. Para means beyond everything. Then why do you say Parat Para? This is a question comes to me. Then I compare. Sri Ramakrishna says something more. That more is indicated in this line. Shuddha Brahman, you have declared. And then Parat Pararam. Kalatmaka Parameshwararam. Only by adding with the time, capital T, he has become Parameshwara. Then only lower stages of divine incarnation, etc. Much less. 6th line only Sri Ram comes. So you find how our sages, in our Vedantic tradition, we are able to think of Supreme Brahman at a very, very high stature. And there are 3 standpoints which we think of God. One standpoint is that God is Nirakara and Nirguna. That is one standpoint. Very, very few people among the sadhakas take up that type of sadhana, upasana. That type of upasana is very, very rare. You will find Nirakara, Nirguna, Brahman upasana is very, very difficult. So Brahma Samaj, taking the name of Brahman, and it started its own organization. Those leaders of the Brahma Samaj, they found Nirakara Nirguna is not the syllabus for the common people. If we have to attract people, then we must come down a step further. So Nirakara Saguna Brahman, they started. And that gained, currency at that time, just before Sri Ramakrishna's arrival. And that was being popular at that time. So English educated boys and girls at that time, they used to say, no, God has got no form. Why do you think God is Mother Kali, standing in two legs and holding a knife and putting her tongue out? What are these forms? Barbaric. These are not God's form. Nirakara, God has got no form, but He has got qualities, Saguna. So Nirakara Saguna is another one. Another third one is Saguna Sakara, where we all, today's 550 people have come, I heard from the outside. So 549 people, we are all Saguna Sakara, Upasanas. Only one person is okay. Now you see, this Saguna Sakara is one standpoint. From there we take up our sadhana. So the question comes, how this same Brahman, which is Nirakara Nirguna, has become Sakara Saguna. How it has become, the question cannot be answered, Swamiji says. How the infinite comes to become a finite, that question itself is wrong, he says. If you are thinking that infinite can become finite, that's a different question. But how it became, because infinite has got all the powers. Omnipotency is one of the power of the Brahman. Omniscience is another power of the Brahman. And then omnipresence. These three powers are there with the Brahman. So Brahman, if he wants to become finite, he can become. Nobody can question it. That is not the point here. The point is, how did it fasten itself to bring into this Sakara Saguna? Regarding that, lot of arguments are there in philosophy. If you go there, it's all terrible arguments are there. Some arguments you may not be able to follow. Recently, I came across an article written by our manager of this mutt, who was editor of Prabuddha Bharata earlier. He has published in that Prabuddha Bharata article, I think it must be either editorial or separate article, I don't remember now. But there, he has explained how this Nirakara Nirguna Brahman, the Supreme God, has become Ishvara. Very beautiful article it is. If you get time, please go through that article. So, he explains there how Shankara takes up, how Swami Vivekananda in the later period, that is the modern period, how he explains. Impersonal is the word Swamiji uses for this Nirguna Brahman. That is formless Brahman, he calls it impersonal. And with form, with name, that God, Swamiji calls it personal. The word personal and impersonal very much is used by Swamiji in his lectures in those times. Even now, we can use those words, no problem at all. But when Swamiji used that impersonal and personal, he says impersonal is seen through the mist of sense, is personal, he defines. So the personal, even though that Nirakara Nirguna Brahman has assumed the position of Ishvara and has taken an avatara in the human form or in any form, even in crocodile form or even a tortoise form, whatever form it takes, it doesn't matter. That same supreme principle has taken the form. So in principle, the formless and the form are substantially the same. They are not different. So whether you worship impersonal, formless, or the personal with form, it doesn't matter for your sadhana. Whatever you are attuned to in your mental capacity, whatever tendency you have from the last previous, how many numbers we do not know, births that we have come up to this human birth, and we are privileged to stay in this hall and be with the Holy Mother's rock. As I told you, it's an excellent day today. Holy Mother entered and she sat on the rock today in 1911. How wonderful to think even. Holy Mother's presence here is wonderful. Many have seen. Just when you all went for tea, one lady devotee, she is very elderly lady. She was unable to walk also. Just because I am sitting here, and she came all the way from wherever she was sitting, came all the way and she said, "Can we feel the presence of Sri Ramakrishna?" She asked. A simple question. I said, "Yes, we can." And she was so happy. Her face told me, yes, she has felt the presence of Sri Ramakrishna. And she went back, just a few minutes before it happened. You see, this place itself, I tell you, that a holy place. That's why I tell my congregation wherever I go, please visit nearest to you, wherever ashram is there. Don't neglect. Okay, I can see these programs by YouTube. You can say, daily arati is done. There is a camera there. They put it in YouTube. What is the necessity to go there? Yes, there are some problems to take a train or to take an auto, to take whatever it means to come to this place and spending time 1 hour, 1.5 hours. Yes, these are all problematic. I understand that. Even then, with all these inconveniences, when you come and take your seat, finish. Today morning, when I reached here by 7 o'clock, I went to the shrine to give my attendance to Sri Ramakrishna, as we call it. You know, when you come to an ashram, you should give attendance to Sri Ramakrishna. So I went there. I saw young girls sitting straight and doing meditation. What a wonderful thing to see that. They have spent time. They have taken lot of strenuous efforts to come here and then go back. But then the moment you come here, that wonderful feeling of that you are surrounded by a divine energy. And that energy not only from the monks that you get. Monks are going and coming. In Ranchi Sanatorium, one doctor was there, elderly person, homeopathy doctor. He used to sit near his window and keep the window open, and he would sit in his chair and he would be taking breakfast and he's looking out. I asked him, people say that you always come to the window side and take your breakfast and look out. What do you see? He said, I see the monks coming and going. Out into the hospital, get into the hospital, coming out. Merely seeing the monks itself gives me so much pleasure. And it gives me that energy, envelops me, he says. That means you see, you come to an ashram, how many types of benefits you get. Okay, let me not go into that other subject. Let me come back to the formless and form. So this formless position of God, how to focus is very difficult. Swami Vivekananda says, as long as you imagine yourself as a person, your mind cannot think of the impersonal. Ruled out. Finished. What you think of yourself when you do sadhana? Do you think yourself as a person? When I sit for meditation, I am Swami Vimokshanandaji is doing meditation. If I think like that, my mind cannot rise to the level of impersonal. Because my mind is now in that construct of the person, it is lying. It cannot come out. Do you think yourself any time? I am the Atman. I am not the body. I am not the mind. Chidananda Swarupa. Shivoham, Shivoham. Do you think any time Shivoham, Shivoham? No. If you cannot think any time, except reading the sutra, that's a different thing. But imagine yourself as completely cut off from your body and mind and go to the level of I am Shivoham, then only it is possible to imagine the impersonal. So long you are attached to your body and mind, think you are who you are. That depends upon what you go about in your sadhana. So what happens is, there are many theories are there in the philosophy. Say, as I told you, there are 3 different standpoints: Nirguna, Nirakara, Nirguna, Sakara, Nirguna, Nirakara, Nirguna, Nirakara, Saguna, Sakara, Saguna. All the 3 standpoints you may take. Some points are very sweet to imagine, to think of. I may be induced that yes, I may follow this formless path. I can imagine, but never do that, just because your imagination likes it. Before that, Swami Yatisharanji gives a clear 2-3 points he wants us before taking up the formless upasana, as he calls it. If you want to take formless upasana, 2-3 things you must be cautious in your mind. What are they? First thing is, what is your idea about yourself? Question first. Are you the person? Can you think yourself beyond your body and mind? How many of us can think beyond our body and mind? Just imagine. It is very, very difficult. It's not impossible. It's only difficult. So he says, secondly, are you able to visualize that the energy or the supreme being which is pervading everywhere, because supreme being means it should pervade everywhere. If it is particularly localized in particular spots only, that cannot be omnipresent. Formless is omnipresent. The logic itself will defeat you. If it is omnipresent, it should be present in all the spots. So what is God? So Swamiji defines mathematically. It is a circle. And then, what is the circumference? Anyone remembers that definition of Swamiji? God is a circle with circumference nowhere, center everywhere. That should be omnipresent, is that meaning, that He is present everywhere. So that everywhere present God, you are now going to localize. How many are able to think? Yatisharanji says, second point to imagine, to follow the formless worship, that upasana, is imagine that God is present everywhere, not only in the photo that you have got in presence of you, not only in the image that you come and see in the temples. No, everywhere. By your left, by your right, by your front, in your back, as the Upanishads puts it beautifully. God is present everywhere. So, are you able to imagine the presence of God around you everywhere? This is the second point he postulates, that to start the upasana of the formless. And third point he says that you, that I am coming, as Swami Nityasanji beautifully explained to us earlier, that I am, that only I am stays. I am that. That even also does not come at that point. So what is I am? Nothing. I am, that's all. So that I am is nothing but that which is present around me everywhere. So unless that impression or the imagination we can put in our mind, we will not be able to focus on the formless. So if you want to do upasana, please read that meditation spiritual practice book. That's a very beautiful book. We all have it as a manual for our sadhana. Such a wonderful book it is. And there, one chapter is there. Yatisharanji's teachings about formless worship. So it is not so easy. But when you come to form, that is worship of God, Supreme God, in form and name, it is much more easier, we feel. The main reason is, I am able to connect to that person, because I consider myself as a person only. I cannot think myself as an imperson. So what happens when I think myself as a person, I am able to relate that personality to another personality. So when you come before me, I can relate, oh, this is a person, he is devotee of Sri Ramakrishna. I can relate with him or with her. And when I go to the temple, I can relate with Sri Ramakrishna. He is the Avatara Purusha. To redeem me from this Bhavasagara, he has come. So I can have a relationship with him. And that is the important aspect of the God with form. In our literature, Hindu literature, it's a vast literature, It's not like that one book you can say for everyone. No, we cannot say that. There are multiple number of books for multiple number of people who have multiple number of tendencies. You take any tendency, you will have a book for that tendency. So that type of wide variety is there. Among the Vaishnavites, there's one beautiful concept is there. How to think of God with form. How do you focus your mind on God with form? I just now told you, you can focus your mind. How do you focus your mind on God without form? Preliminary stages are there, and there are standpoints are there where by standing which you can approach that upasana. But now let us take up this, our focusing your mind on God with form. Is it possible? But there are many types of sadhanas are there. If 100 people are there, we will let there be 100 religions, Swamiji says in one place. Very bold statement these are all. Do you want multiple religions? All the religions are fighting with each other. Why do you want multiple religions, you may ask. But Swamiji in one place says, let each person can have his own religion. Such is the swatantra, that is the freedom that is our Hindu dharma. I don't even like to say the word Hindu. It's the Sanatana Dharma that gives us. When you say Hindu, you have come very recently. But our Sanatana Dharma is so ancient. When it started, you do not know. But whatever label you give, Hinduism is a label for our own administrative purpose. Okay, let it be. But I am telling you, the Sanatana Dharma has got such wonderful ideas. Long back we have been having the worship of God in form. Otherwise, how do you account for hundreds and hundreds of temples in this land? In Tamil Nadu alone, there are more than 7,000 temples are there, where Nitya Puja is done to the deities. Think of that. Almost you turn your face here or there, you find a temple there. You find a gopuram there. So beautiful gopurams. So, this God with form is easier for us. I can go every day to the temple. I can see his form. I can take a photograph, put it in my home, and I can put flower, thinking that God is present here. So, in this type of hundreds and hundreds of paths, there is one path, Vaishnavism. The Vaishnavi teachers, they have done wonderful research on God with form. For them, avatara is not a mere descending of the Parabrahman, which has come to us. Avatara, even the signals, signages of avatara that avatara uses in his lifetime, they also have got propensity. They are not merely, say Ram is having a bow in his hand. The bow is not simply a bow. Vishnu's hand, you find a shankha. I am thankful to our Pujari Maharaj of this center. I told him, hey, we don't have a shankh in our Yelagiri ashram. Can you get it from Calcutta? The best type of shankh. So he brought it today and gave it to me. And I told him, blow that shankh. Let me hear the shankhanada. And he blowed it so beautiful. 3 times he blew. As if like Krishna blowing in the battlefield. It was so nice to hear that shankhanada. So pure it is. So you find that shankha, you cannot simply consider a mere equipment, a tool. No. It is also an avatara. Along with avatara it comes. Though it is an object, but you cannot consider it lightly. That is the Vaishnavism. So they go into much deeper into understanding the principle. So one of the important point which Bhajanandaji used to tell us, he say the Vaishnavism, how they have fine-tuned the worship of God in form. So he was telling us, so he gave one example. Mother, Devaki delivered the baby in the jail, the Karagraham. And then the baby was taken by whom? By Vasudeva to whose place? Yes. Now, in Yashoda's place, she knew that baby was born to her. That's all she understands. Only after 16 years, only she comes to know that baby that she took so much of care and thought that it is my baby, it's no more my baby. That baby was born to somebody else. She comes to know much later. But Yashoda, so fond of Sri Krishna. So that scenery I am asking you to imagine, because we are all very good in imagination. Otherwise, you cannot make sadhana in God with form. You must have wonderful imagination power. Just touch that power and let us see how the imagination can go. They have the Vaishnava acharyas, how they have brought their imagination. Yashoda comes and goes from her kitchen to the outside kitchen to why? The sun is going to set. That's a dusk time when all the other children who have taken the cows for grazing, they are all coming back. One by one is coming back. And she's coming out and looking, where is my Krishna? That's the next door neighbor's boy has come. His cow has come. But where is my Krishna? She goes and sees. Again and again she comes and sees. She is absolutely upset because her Krishna hasn't come yet. He is also coming. Okay, all the boys are coming, so he will also come back. But he is in the last. No, he always makes fun with his mother. He wants to play with his mother. So he is increasing her this yearning to see her son. So he is coming in the last. So she comes and goes through, and finally it has already sun is set. At least before the sunset, with the little light of the sun, you can see that baby, you can see the boy, young boy coming, and she can recognize him. Now sun is gone. Darkness have come up, and there Krishna is coming with his cow. The cow knows where to go. It has gone. And Krishna comes and stands outside the door, and Yashoda sees her son. She runs to Krishna. And she comes and says, "Hey Krishna, Krishna," then she touches him. Is this boy my son? Or some other son has come and stood there? Quite possibly, no? So she wants to verify, is that my son? And after touching Krishna's body, she knows, yes, my son. She goes inside and brings, what she brings? A light. In those days, there is no electricity. You can imagine a lamp she brings in her hand. And first thing, she sees the feet of her son. Are the feet okay? He has gone to these very bad places where no chapels were there at the time. Only the kings and the jamindars used to have chapels. But he is only a simple boy. He has gone with the other boys. So any injury on his feet? She looks at feet with the lamp. So feet is okay. And then she raises the lamp and she comes to his Vakshasthala. And he says, everything is okay? She has put very, very costly a chain on his neck when he went out. Is there any other boy has stolen it away? The chain is okay. She looks at it, happy, and then she raises the lamp to his face, and there, beautiful Kamala Lochana, she sees, my son, my Krishna is standing there. She puts down. But what she observed, not merely she could recognize that it is Krishna, she observes full of dust. Already is darkened color. And along the dark color, first lot of dust has fallen. Now you can understand, so much of color is changed, so much of darkness. So she brings water, immediately takes the water with the chombu, with a small pot, and then she pours water on him, like Abhisheka we do, and cleans the dust from his body. Then he is fully drenched. Krishna is smiling and standing there. Yashoda sees that. Immediately she has got a dry towel. So she dries his body because water should not be there. If you take bath, your mother will say, hey, how long you are in the water? Go and dry yourself. So we all dry our body and after taking bath. So she dried his body. And then she looks at him, she says, wait, stand here. She goes and brings unguents, these scents. She sprinkles on him some scent. And she brings flowers. And she puts it on his head, because his head is tied with a small, kerchief like cloth. And then she ties those flowers. And then she is looking at her son. My Krishna is just like as he should be. She was fully satisfied. Then she finds he is perspiring. Then immediately she brings a fan and starts fanning him. And then slowly she takes him inside the house and makes him sitting and feeding. Now this is a beautiful imagination of a bhakta, Krishna bhakta, of understanding when Krishna comes back. But do you know the Arati system that we follow in our temple is based on this story? Have you ever thought of that? When you sit before Sri Ramakrishna and the Khandana Bhava Bandhana starts, with what the pujari raises on your seat? With the lamp. Imagine Sri Ramakrishna is seated in front of you. Such a beautiful scenery. And think Sri Ramakrishna as a baby like Krishna. He has come all the way. Whole day he has been moving around because he has got millions of devotees all over the globe to look after. After that, he has come to this temple. And he is standing in front of me. So you take the lamp and show that. So lamp comes first. And then water. With the water, you do that arati. You must have seen that. The pancha prakara arati that we do. Water. After the water comes cloth. And then you have seen the cloth and the devotee takes, our pujari takes, and he, as if he is cleaning the face and touching the face like that, he will show. If you intensely see that, you can feel that. And if the pujari also feels as if the Krishna has come before him and he does like that, then only you can get that idea. If the pujari is not a true pujari, then you won't get that idea also. As an onlooker, will not have that energy. Because that energy has to come from the pujari. That's why if the pujari is good, that deity becomes powerful. If an image is there in any temple, that image will not gain any power unless and until the pujari comes and he starts manifesting, thinking of God in that image. When he thinks again and again that God has come into this image, that image gains power. Here nearby only we have a Shiva temple. How many of you have not seen the temple where Holy Mother visited? Raise your hands. How many have not seen? Oh, only 2 persons have not seen. I see. Here only, very nearby. You find out from the Swamis how to go and see that. Holy Mother has gone there. Why should we not go? So you see that image itself gains that power. And when you go to such pilgrimage places, you gain that power in you. And from you, another person who has got a less magnification of that power will be drawing that power from you. You will be the one of the center from where that divine power is being spread out. That's why you have to always be cautious in your mind. In your mind, if you are pure, that purity will catch another person. If you are impure, that will depress me. That's why how it was very there is no time to go very fast. But I am telling you, this type of understanding must be there in our mind. How wonderfully this Arati system is there. Next time when you see Arati, you please think of it. How Yashoda brought the lamp. Of course, Vedanta explains this in a different way. Pancha prakritis are there, Pancha things. So this fire is there, and then the water is there, then Akasha is there, Vayu is there. Like that you can, all the 5 elements you can say, 5 these primordial elements are being offered to the Lord who has produced these 5 primordial elements. Like that explanation can go. But in devotion time comes, this Yashoda and Krishna, what a beautiful relationship you see. When you think of that, as Swami, our head of Maharaj, our astras, told us that there are ideas that come, many thoughts may come in the mind on many subjects, or many thoughts may come on one subject. This is an example of many thoughts coming on one subject. You are able to think of God, you are offering, from Akasha onwards, all the 5 elements. In that way, you are able to do the focus on the form. So focus on the formless and focus on the form itself is a series of lectures should be there actually, because it is such a wide subject. But I am thankful to Swami Nityanandaji, who invited me gracefully, and then I could come here and then I could meet many of the devotees once more and share some of my thoughts on the formless and the form of God. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.
On behalf of all the spiritual aspirants here, reverential pranams and thanks to revered Swami Vimokshanandaji Maharaj for sharing his thoughts on focus on the formless and the form.